can pan. And any barmaid can be a star maid if she dances with or without a fan. Hooray for Hollywood, where you're terrific if you're even good. Where anyone at all from Shirley Temple to Amy Semple is equally understood. Go out and try your luck, you may be Donald Duck. Hooray for Hollywood.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the Rattlegion Broadcasting Network premier movie review podcast, Damn You Hollywood. And here's your host. Oh no, there goes Tokyo. It's Robert Winfrey. Yay!
All right. Apparently I am now conducive with the destruction of a major metropolitan city in the world. Good for me. Hi, everyone. As was mentioned by my hype man, Mark, the Paul Heyman to my Brock Lesnar, if you will.
Oh, I like that. Can we start over again and I'll do it Paul Lee style?
No, next time.
Please don't.
Robert Winfrey! Go ahead.
Ugh. Yeah, no,
Seriously,
never
Robert,
do that again.
Seriously, Robert, do you want to be compared to Brock Lesnar? You'd be jumping back and forth between podcasts and never actually committing to anything.
Look, if it made me as much money as it does Brock, yeah.
You'd also have less of a sense of humor than a few other people who shall remain nameless on this podcast.
I frankly would love to see Robert just, like if we ever had real video for these shows, for Robert to just walk out onto the podcast with a briefcase on his shoulders and him dancing like it was a boombox.
Yeah,
Please,
I would never do that.
Please make that a thing.
See, I'd prefer to see Robert go all Ultimate Warrior and run in and start shaking everything.
Also would never happen.
Haha.
Look, my wrestling entrance is more like Jake Roberts. I just kind of slink in, look all morose.
See, I was thinking $1 Million Man. You'd walk out, hand a basketball to a black child, and just before he wins the contest, kick the ball away from him.
I mean, as fun as that is, I wouldn't do it on camera.
Let's move on.
All right. Tonight on Damn You Hollywood, everyone, we will be... You've now heard everyone who's on the show. You've heard me, you've heard Mark, you've heard Alexis. Minor quality note, everyone, just so you're all aware. Alexis is in transit, so if you get some noise that you're not used to, if she chops in and out a little bit, blame the Wi-Fi in Missouri. Just blame Missouri generally. It's a terrible state.
She's currently being held hostage by a mad Russian who's taking her across state lines.
He's not Russian.
Mark, I understand that to you, all Slavic countries that start with an R are Russia.
Right.
Romania is not Russia.
Sure
Thank you, Robert.
Everything west of London is Russia.
You just called Germany Russia.
Yeah.
Germany, Poland, Italy, Belgium, Macedonia, the former Yugoslavia, so the Czech Republic, Slovakia.
Well, hang on.
Moldova.
Yugoslavia is made up of Croatia, which is the only place that's not Russian, because I'm from there.
Because, yeah, it's not like there have been massive wars between Croatia and Russia over the last 20 years. Hungary,
I'm sure people tuned into the show to hear us talk about
Estonia.
geography.
All the Nordic countries.
Hey, look! If you turned into the show thinking we were going to get right to the review and be, one of the many, 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 many bland podcasts that are out there that actually stay on topic, look, you get what you pay for, folks. All right,
and we're free for a reason. All right, we are talking about Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and which. I'll spoil the money, won the weekend. We'll get more into that later.
And not much else.
So, do we want to talk about expectations here? You know what? No, I have a better idea. Alexis, let me start with you very briefly on this. Do you have any history with the character of Godzilla that you'd care to go into?
Not this conversation again.
Don't go in depth, but just generally.
Wait, didn't we discuss this when we did our riff tracks on Godzilla 98? Plug.
And on source material, Kingdom of Monsters. Yeah.
Again,
Well,
plug.
for everyone who does not listen to the other shows in the Radulich Broadcasting Network, which would include me, not coincidentally.
Clearly.
Yeah, that's why I say plug. Go listen to them.
Yes, in all seriousness, you should. I haven't gotten around to it yet because
We need more downloads. I'd like to start getting paid.
So would I.
we don't get paid until Mark recoups his decade-plus investment in this. We've had this conversation.
Fair enough. Okay, I did not get into Godzilla until, unfortunately, please forgive me, the 98 film came out. I just wasn't really exposed to it. I was the right demographic to go see that piece of crap film. Again, if you want to hear more of my opinions on it, there is a commentary that Mark, Jesse, and I, and Mark's children also jumped in on.
Mostly Mark's children.
Mostly Mark's. Yeah, I think we made a joke. It's like, well, Eddie the Corgi was asleep for most of it, so we had to arrange for someone else to interrupt us.
Here comes Jonas.
My daughter did a great job of staying on topic. She kind of took over the podcast, and we had to have a conversation about listening to other people talk and not talking over them. My son, however, contributed absolutely nothing.
Besides screams that sounded like a seizure.
Yeah, besides that.
No, your daughter's got a future career in CinemaSins. Okay, no, I didn't really get to know Godzilla until that movie came out, and I started getting more into it as I got older and realized that the 98 Godzilla is an abomination of unholy hell. And I got more into it. I started watching more monster movies. I still remember watching Godzilla, the first Mothra film, and with it ending me going, so that's all it takes to take down Godzilla? 2 Caterpies?
Fair enough.
So, but yeah, got more into...
At least they had string shot. If they were metapods, it would have been the epic Hardenoff.
Oh, God. The worst fight ever in Pokemon. Metapod versus Metapod.
They got down to struggle.
But yes, I actually stayed up late the other night watching Godzilla vs. Megalon, which is worth it solely for the epic gravity-defying dropkick.
Hey, Godzilla's dropkicks were nothing to sneeze at, man.
I know, but that's
Randy Orton has nothing on Godzilla.
No, I got to calling it that after the Godzilla vs. Gamera video I watched, because that's the way they pronounce it. Speaking of which, Mark, I sent you the link. Did you finally watch that?
If I say yes, will you not ask me any follow-up questions?
Not affiliated, but guys, go watch Death Battle. They got a Godzilla vs. Gamera battle. It's done in 3D animation. It's freaking awesome.
Ooh, Death Battle. I will have to check that out.
Oh, Death Battle's great. But yes, that is my correlation with Godzilla. So I am a pretty decent fan. I did sit in on the source materials cover of Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters, which, God, please don't make me read that comic book again.
All right. If you've listened to our previous reviews of Godzilla movies, and I assume, and if you haven't, go listen to them. I've talked in the past a little bit about my affection for the character, where that comes from. Mark and I have talked a little bit about that, so no need for us to really rehash too much of that here. The movie itself. For those of you concerned about spoilers regarding the giant lizard that's already been confirmed to have a sequel in the works, and whether or not he wins, you've been warned.
Yeah, spoilers. Godzilla wins.
He's almost as bad as John Cena. There's almost no point in believing the competitiveness of the match. We pick up first with a flashback to the Godzilla versus the Mutos battle in San Francisco from Gareth Edwards' Godzilla movie a few years ago.
Otherwise known as Godzilla, not necessarily in this movie.
Thank you, Terry Jones.
He went under a minor character redesign.
Character redesign. Every time they turned the camera on Godzilla, he was either in the background waving at you, or the camera quickly pulled away. I think it wasn't until the last third of the movie where you actually saw the damn thing do anything. And by that point, you're so bored with the wooden characters in the thing that who cared anymore?
Yeah, remind me to circle back to that because I have a few things I want to I have a few things I want to say about that. But we follow who will be our main characters for the movie because focus groups, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why they thought this movie had to be made this way, but they did. We follow totally not Mark Ruffalo, Chandler Riggs, Vera Farmiga, and Millie Bobby, Brown, who just really should God. Look, she's 11.
Plot synopsis.
She should be doing other stuff. Anyway, their other child, their son Andrew, was killed during this clash between Godzilla and the Mutos. The death of a child statistically breaks up a marriage a significant portion of the time. I forget the exact number, forgive me. Their marriage falls apart. Vera Farmiga becomes a crazy person. Who's
well, she's first a scientist for Monarch, which we've established from Kong Skull Island is basically our connecting story arc of the government-sponsored group that is studying the monsters and trying to make sure this kind of crap doesn't keep happening.
Yeah, and somehow her insanity goes absolutely undetected by the massive government-approved agency that is designed around keeping secrecy.
Well, hang on. You're not doing a very good job of this, and I'll tell you why.
Let me...
Because you say, oh, well, she went insane. That needs a bit of context, because she's presented as just doing a thing, and she's invented a way to talk to the Titans, and when you first meet her in the movie, she's seemingly okay. It isn't until the big reveal that she's, spoilers, joined with the terrorist group that you go, oh, wait a minute, she's lost her marbles.
And I do kind of like the device. They call it, the Orca?
Yes.
Which I've seen Jaws too many times, so every time I hear that, I think, get back on the ship.
Look, they created the MacGuffin.
Yeah, but I like it. It's basically an echolocation unit that sends out reverberations that as they call them, the Titans can hear. It's like the world's most expensive dog whistle.
It's a good way to put it.
All right, now you may continue, Robert.
Anyway, she has kind of perfected this technology, which Alexis just summed up. The facility that she is at is ambushed by generic British terrorist number 367. I believe his name was Jonah Allen. Don't quote me on that, because who cares?
Now the rest of us call him Tywin Lannister.
Okay. Who does not, in fact, shit gold. They kill everyone there. They kidnap, ostensibly, the daughter the character's name I can't remember.
Maddie,
that was it.
I believe her name in the movie is Mary Sue.
That too.
I'm not sure.
It was a joke. Move on.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure how serious you were being there. I didn't quite get that degree of vibe from her, but fair play. They are, again, ostensibly kidnapped. In reality, they've been working with this terrorist organization because the appearance of Godzilla and some of these other Titans and the loss of her son drove this woman mad with grief, and now she's like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just wake them all up, and most of humanity will die, but we'll find a way to peacefully coexist with these giant, super powerful beings that don't actually care whether we live or die. I'm sure that will work out so well. And that this is the only way to heal the planet, because cow farts are polluting the air, and you don't understand, we've only got 12 years left before our planet is irreparably damaged. Who cares?
Yeah, who would have thought Godzilla was the most woke movie of the summer?
So they get Chandler Riggs out of semi-retirement, where he's just photographing wolves. He's apparently helping reintroduce them into various places that they were trapped out of, and the ecology went wild because they were gone, which is a real thing. And they start chasing around the world, trying to find her. Godzilla shows up very briefly at one of their underwater facilities to give them the old evil eye. That scene is so badly written. Oh, God.
Yeah, but admit it, the scene where he suddenly startles them by swimming right past them quickly, that legit did make me drop my drink.
I mean, hooray for cheap jump scares, you know. I mean, fair play.
You know what? Sometimes a cheap jump scare, a cheap jump scare is effective, and I thought that one was actually pretty good.
I mean, they're not hard to do. A jump scare is not hard to do. It's one of the reasons they're so cheap most of the time. It's, sudden loud noise to trigger a reflex in the audience. Like, okay, fair play. I mean, look, for the record, my favorite jump scare of all time is from Paranormal Activity 2.
That's a good one.
I don't know why. I guess it kind of reminded me of those times I went to the zoo and one of the big cats or something would suddenly like jump or lunge up against the cage or the window, and you'd see all these little kids run screaming in the other direction. I'm serious. That's exactly what I was thinking of when he did that.
That's fair. The terrorist organization is bent on releasing Monster Zero, more popularly known as King Ghidorah, the three-headed dragon from outer space, who is trapped in the ice in Antarctica. And I've said this before, people. If you have the slightest inkling that you are not in reality, just stay away from Antarctica. Just stay away. Nothing good lives there.
Somewhere out there, you just insulted an Eskimo.
Okay, no, you just insulted the Eskimos because they live at the North Pole, not the South, you moron.
Yeah, I was going to say, nothing wrong with the North Pole. That's where we got Captain America. No, it's the South Pole you stay away from.
Because there's Ghidorah, there's Shoggoths, there's other eldritch horrors. There's just nothing good there. Just don't go.
You forgot about the Thing.
The Thing is down there, yeah. Just the number of really, really terrifying entities that are in fictional universes that are placed in Antarctica is staggering. Just if you have any inkling for whatever reason you're in an alternate universe.
Wasn't the Matrix of Leadership there?
No.
I thought that was in the desert.
Yeah, that was under the Egyptian pyramids.
Oh no, okay. It was Grandpa Witwicky's glasses.
That was again the North Pole, not the South.
God damn it.
They were trying they were looking for, I believe, the Northwestern Passage, which was not a thing. The ice flows are too irregular for there to be a consistent one. Again, it's just not a thing that there's just nothing good. There's just nothing good there. Don't go. Anyway, they release Ghidorah. He and Godzilla have a bit of a throwdown. One of the characters from one of the doctors that works for Monarch is dead. The treachery of Vera Farmiga is revealed, and I don't just mean because she looks like you can't trust that woman. Just look at her face. Like, that's not a trustworthy person.
Hey, it's important to say specifically what she says in that scene, and why she's finding herself in league with Charles Dance.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Go ahead. This clearly affected you more than it did me.
So, she's in league with the bad guys and is a bad guy herself, but she's doing it for quote-unquote benevolent reasons, because you see global warming and other human-inducing pollution matters.
I'm pretty sure I did actually say that already when talking about that.
Not really. You said cow farts.
Sure. Have you not seen these reports, Mark? Large-scale cow farming is a bigger contributor to the emissions of CO2 in the atmosphere than at least two major countries.
But the best...
This is the problem.
Okay, AOC, knock it off.
Oh,
But
God, that woman... That's the joke. That woman is a moron, regardless of your politics.
But the best line that she delivers, and the line that I'm kind of stuck on and needs being repeated, is, "You have to understand, I did this because the Titans will return the Earth to its original form. We are the virus. Humanity is the virus of this Earth, and the Titans are the fever that will cure the virus."
Thank you, Agent Smith.
Yeah.
So the plan initially is to release them one by one. They'll start changing.
Here's the problem: life has been running unchecked for too long on this planet, and it needs correcting. And I think a good 50% reduction is probably the way to go. And I'm totally not a ripoff of Thanos in terms of my ideology.
So here's the problem with that, though, is that they had planned to do this one at a time, and Ghidorah, go.
Yeah, I don't care about her ideology. It's every stupid quasi-environmental
it was important.
Bullshit.
It was important to
ever.
It was important to the movie. B, the dumbest thing ever.
It basically just sets up why it didn't work by exposing Ghidorah as the bigger threat.
Yeah, because when they released Ghidorah, again, Ghidorah and Godzilla threw down a little bit in Antarctica. Ghidorah gets a little bit of the better of it, but they both kind of separate. They have a rematch off some island off the coast of Mexico, where the terrorist group is remotely releasing Rodan. As soon as he's released, the Ghidorah, who has created a giant hurricane around himself that just follows him everywhere, alters course to go there because, oh, look, something else I care about. Godzilla shows up again as Ghidorah is kind of slapping Rodan around like the little bitch that he is. Godzilla pulls him underwater and goes, "Haha, your wings are useless now," and is about to really kick his ass when the government, who has launched an oxygen destroyer, which is a really nice callback as far as weapons go. That's what they originally use in the 1954 Godzilla to kill him. During the process of this battle, Godzilla rips off one of Ghidorah's heads.
That was awesome.
It really was. But this thing goes off underwater. Godzilla is killed, but not really killed, like rendered mostly comatose.
He's mostly dead.
Mostly. Not all dead, but mostly dead.
There's a difference between mostly dead and all dead.
All dead. Yeah, there's only one thing you can do. Go through the pockets
Go through
and
their
let loose
pockets.
change.
Yeah.
Ghidorah then lands on the volcano that Rodan was nesting in. His head regenerates. Rodan bends the knee and swears fealty to the three heads of Ghidorah.
That's a nice way to put it.
Things get worse because Ghidorah then begins sending out a call to all the other dormant titans that they respond to and begin waking up all over the world simultaneously. This is a bad thing.
See, at that point, they should have played the Foo Fighters. This is a call. And then all the monsters start to wake up. See, that would have been fun.
Mark.
This is a call. Go on.
You ruin my will to do this show on a weekly basis. You realize this, right?
I certainly try.
I thought you would be. I thought you'd get used to him singing by now. I mean, I haven't. But...
It's the Foo Fighters more than the singing.
Ah.
So there's a bit of a clash of interests between Vera Farmiga and Tyrion Lannister.
No, Tywin.
Tywin, not
Tyrion. Peter Dinklage.
Sorry, Tyrion's Peter Dinklage. It's been too long since I've read the books. I apologize. Because she's like, no, don't you understand? What the destruction that he's causing is really going to do a number on the Earth. When we say it's going to return it to its natural state, in this case, Ghidorah's like thinking the primordial state. As a geology gag for all of you out there. And Tywin kind of goes, Not my problem. I'm committed to this course of action. You know what? Go, let him do it. I don't really care. And she gets shamed by Maddie, who winds up stealing the orca and trying to delay things. As the Titans begin going nuts, the humans discover that Godzilla is still actually alive after Mothra shows up and sets off a giant flare over his position, like, "Hey, numbnuts, here." They travel to what I believe is the ancient city of Atlantis.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. They never actually used the word Atlantis, but what the hell else were you going to call that?
They get there via a vortex under the ocean, thus theoretically confirming the hollow Earth theory that was really espoused in Kong Skull Island, and is used to kind of explain how Godzilla travels across, the entirety of the planet so quickly, because it's a big planet. They find where Godzilla is kind of hanging out. He's by a giant pool of molten material that is emitting gobs of radiation, because Godzilla, as previously established, feeds on radiation. So this is kind of his happy place. He goes here and he will regenerate, he will absorb, he will feed, and eventually he will get back on his feet and go kick more ass.
Remember, Roland Emmerich's got it wrong. He eats radiation, not fish.
Look, Roland Emmerich gets a lot of things wrong, like movies.
That was actually a joke we made during the riff tracks, because I actually said, it's like, okay, we established he doesn't eat fish. What does he eat? And Mr. Mark Radovich here said, well, I can't really say that because it'll spoil part of the movie you're going to go see. So
they realize that while Godzilla is okay, the process might take some time. They don't really have a timetable for whether or not he'll be able to return, and whether or not it will be in time to actually stop the Earth from becoming uninhabitable to humanity. So Ken Watanabe mans a one-person sub, takes a nuke to Godzilla, wishes his old friend a fond farewell in probably the only legitimately emotional moment in this movie, and in no small part because Ken Watanabe is the best actor in this movie by a considerable margin.
Mm-hmm.
They nuke Atlantis, which I never thought I'd say with a straight face. Which revives Godzilla, and just as a brief note, if you are a Godzilla fan, like I am, if you didn't get chills when he comes up out of the ocean after this with the original Godzilla theme blaring in the background, I don't know what to tell you. You're dead inside.
Even though that scene was slightly spoiled in the trailer, I mean, it's the one where he basically shoots his atomic breath into the sky. It looks awesome, but it's in all the trailers.
Sure, the scene is, but again, for me, it's more the music that they get to play within this, because the original Godzilla theme is so great.
I'll give you that.
And they play it again during part of the fight scene, which is also great. I mean, there's so many great callbacks to the original Toho Godzilla movies in this. The twins always being the ones around Mothra. The Mothra song is actually adapted for this movie. Again, the Oxygen Destroyer, the original Godzilla theme. There's just a lot of even when the twins talk about their mother, who was also the photos they use of her are the original Japanese actresses from Godzilla vs. Mothra, who are the priestesses of Mothra in that movie. There's a lot of stuff like that in this movie. Maddie has stolen the orca and has taken it to Fenway Park because Boston, I guess. I don't know. The geolocation is never actually given a specific reason other than, I suppose, convenience. She blasts out a signal that attracts all of the Titans towards it. Ghidorah had been kind of over Washington, D.C. for inexplicable reasons, other than I genuinely don't know why he chose that location. It's of no actual geographic value. It used to be a swamp, and it wasn't even supposed to be a real city. But he is, and he's tearing things up because of the giant hurricane that surrounds him that apparently, despite in the overlay that they show covering miles is actually really localized around him. Just makes no sense. And bear in mind, that's the only thing I'm kind of harping on, because if you're going to say that this guy is a category like 7 hurricane perpetually around him, I expect to see a category 7 hurricane perpetually around around Ghidorah, damn it. While this was going on, they did figure out that Ghidorah is from space. Like, I wasn't joking when I said he's a 3-headed dragon from outer space. And the only creature that has a chance in hell of beating him is Godzilla, because he is too powerful to... He regenerates very quickly. His lightning breath is a problem. Like, there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing we could do. Like, we couldn't even stop Kong, even though Samuel L. Jackson had him dead to rights. Well, much less deal with an intergalactic space dragon. So they're all kind of being drawn towards Boston. Ghidorah shows up, nearly kills 11. Godzilla shows up and just wants his rematch. Mothra shows up to distract Rodan, who, after swearing fealty to Ghidorah, just follows him around like Iago the parrot. Rodan now, forever in my head, has the voice of Gilbert Gottfried.
Nice.
Which actually makes sense given his original monster call.
God damn it. Now I want to hear Rodan singing I'm Looking Out for Me.
Oh, good Lord.
Anyway, Godzilla shows up, and the big kind of worry point here is that the amount of radiation that Godzilla absorbed between the nuke and whatever was going on in that chamber he was in, it's above his normal levels, so it's going to erupt out of him in a very large explosion in the near future.
So yeah, Godzilla gonna go boom.
Chandler Riggs and Vera Farmiga take to the streets to try and find Maddie. They eventually do find her in their old home. Godzilla's taken out of the equation. Like, the monster fight goes back and forth a little bit. Godzilla's down for a moment, so Vera Farmiga has to distract Ghidorah by driving around with the Orca and sacrificing her own life, because this clearly makes up for the probably billions of lives that she's cost by allying with a terrorist group, but hey.
It's an even swap.
As Ghidorah's ready to kill her, Godzilla shows up, and while Mothra was fighting Rodan, Mothra gets the better of Rodan, but then is summarily nuked by Ghidorah, because Mothra always does the job. Godzilla reemerges, and honestly, one of the coolest sequences ever is emitting radiation that is so hot around him that steel girders are liquefying before he gets on screen. Emitting this unholy level of heat and radiation, he is able to turn Ghidorah basically into dust. He kind of blows up. And then in one of the better fake-outs for these kinds of movies, they will frequently do a little bit of a fake-out, like, oh no, the good guy didn't win, here's the bad guy. And we see King Ghidorah's head pop up out of the rubble before Godzilla's follows, and it's revealed that he's actually eating him. All the other times...
I'm sorry. When I saw Godzilla with Ghidorah's head and he was tossing around, it looked like my old golden retriever with his favorite chew rope.
Yeah, that's about fair. The other Titans show up too late to have actually... Look, they were all sitting around going, I just want to see who's going to win, man. Because if I go in on the wrong side of this, that's not going to be good. So we're just going to hang back. We're going to just see what happens. They see that Godzilla wins, so they all show up and universally bend the knee to Godzilla, the king of monsters. And credits, where we get some brief bits about the end, where the radiation that the Titans kind of naturally emit has now solved all the problems of the world. Glaciers melting, even though they're not actually melting. Some of the largest ones are expanding currently. No, this Titan's radiation fixes that. These massive deserts that we had that are actually important to ecology, nope, now becoming tropical rainforests. I swear if the next movie doesn't actually have humanity having to deal with the fact that we're not built to survive in the climate that spawned the Cretaceous period, I'm going to be disappointed.
Oh, you're going to be disappointed.
Of course I am.
With We do also get that cool cave painting that shows the next movie that's coming out.
Yeah, we see the bits that indicate that Mothra is regenerating, and like the next Mothra's coming around, because there's always more than one Mothra. We get some hints about the upcoming Kong versus Godzilla, and look, Kong's a little bitch. Look, again, Kong got taken down by Samuel L. Jackson and a team of and a ragtag group of Marines in the 1970s. Godzilla just stomped an intergalactic three-headed space dragon. This isn't a fight. We then get a post-credits scene where Tywin Lannister finds the head of Dorgon and decides, you know what, I will become the next Targaryen and the next father of dragons. He buys the head of Ghidorah that Godzilla tore off the coast of Mexico because it was fished up, thus leaving the door open for Ghidorah to make a reappearance at some point in the future in some capacity. So,
the theory is that if this goes anywhere near past Kong versus Godzilla, they're gonna they're working their way towards the mecha versions of all these things,
which I can live with.
Honestly, Godzilla vs. Kong is going to have to do massively, massively well at the box office for them to keep going after this.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the money, but this is underperforming, and they've already shot Kong vs. Godzilla. They're committed. This was sort of the Avengers of this project, but unless it does Avengers numbers, that's going to be the end of the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, and I want to start this off when we talk about the quality of this movie. And this movie apparently underwent some reshoots, and it's relatively obvious when you watch the movie which parts were reshot. Parts of the CGI don't look as good because this movie has some absolutely gorgeous shots that are just entirely computer generated. Just some truly beautiful stuff that sadly the camera's not on all that long because we have to watch Chandler Riggs making faces.
Yeah, getting to see the detail of Ghidorah's three heads, the way they actually made him look like a traditional Chinese dragon. That was just amazing to see that kind of detail.
There is so much visually in this movie that is beautiful, and it's a shame that they spend so much time not letting that shine because they spend a lot of time with stuff that no one cares about. I know, and again, apparently the early test screenings had a bunch of people complaining that there was too much monster fighting. So to anyone who registered that complaint, whoever was in these test screenings, these focus groups or what have you, go play in traffic. You are what's wrong with movies like this, because every time somebody tries to do something interesting with these movies, you all go, but where's the love interest? And where's the human character I'm supposed to be following? You bunch of idiots! There's this stupid quote that kind of gets thrown around, like, you can't just have a WWE-style 2-hour battle between Godzilla and Ghidorah, and I mean this in all seriousness, why not?
Well, it's hilarious because that was the biggest complaint about the 2014 Godzilla film. Everyone said there was too much of the human element, not enough of Godzilla. We already established that Godzilla wasn't in there enough, and frankly, if you're going to focus on the human element, then you don't kill off Bryan Cranston. He was the only interesting thing in that movie. And then you get this movie.
They kill off Ken Watanabe.
For the record, I agree with you about Ken Watanabe. I also like the callback to his watch, which I believe he established that it was the watch that I think he said his father had when the bomb was dropped
on Hiroshima.
So it stopped probably because of the electromagnetic pulse that went out from the bomb. So he always, and I love it when he said, the guy says, what time is it? And he doesn't know the story behind the watch. He's like, time to get a new watch. I don't know, I like that scene. That was really well done. Nice little callback. But again, it's like, So the first Godzilla film, okay, fine. Too much humans, not enough monsters, duly noted. This film comes out, too much monsters, not enough humans. What does it take to please you people?
Well, that's okay. I think we're talking about two different things, though, because the test audience is not the general audience, and notoriously, this happens all the time. You know, this is part of the reason why I think New Mutants is going through its 86 series of reshoots. Is they keep doing test audiences that want one thing. But these are notoriously different from the general audience. And this is the first time that this has happened. And so it's like to the point where either their algorithms for choosing people for the test audiences needs to change, or they should just stop doing them.
There is no algorithm. It's like friends of the people involved. Like there's no actual thought put into who gets chosen for these things, and it's really obvious.
They're choosing people that I work with then. You know, the people that, like, they watch one movie maybe a year and they never leave their house except to go to work. I don't understand where they're getting these people from who are like, okay, this is a monster movie. It's called Godzilla King of the Monsters. The plot is Godzilla kills a bunch of monsters and has fights with a bunch of different monsters. The main one being a 3-headed dragon from space. Enjoy! And at the end of it, people are going, too much monster fighting.
Look, I imagine that the majority of these studio executives are like Mel Gibson in The Simpsons. Sitting outside that studio, and everybody comes out and loves it, and then Homer's like, oh, God, why was there so much talking? It's a remake of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And Homer just, no, I have no time for this. This is the worst thing ever. And Mel Gibson goes, you know what? This guy. Not everyone else. Not literally everyone else in that theater that said, no, this was great. This guy. I feel like that's how they choose these things. It's so bad that it goes through this. I mean, you can pretty clearly tell which scenes were, again, not just because the CGI is rough in places when it comes to, I mean, especially like Ghidorah's chasing a Vera Farmiga through the wrecked streets of Boston does not look nearly as smooth and as polished and as beautiful as he looks in every one of his battles with Godzilla, or when he stands on top of the mountain and is just like, everybody come out to play. We also get a bunch of stupid scenes shot on a sound screen somewhere of, hey, here's a bunch of people talking ostensibly on the bridge of this giant ship or in this submarine, because everyone clearly in a Godzilla movie cares about the humans' dialogue.
Yeah, let me quick give my impressions of this, and then I'll turn it over to you and Alexis. My favorite thing about this movie is I took my kids to go see it, but I didn't just take them. I went to pick up my daughter from school. It was the last day of school, and I go into, my wife takes me to another classroom where her friend is packing up her stuff, and she's got her daughter there playing on an iPad. And I said, hey, do you want me to take her too? And the kid's somewhere on the spectrum. So, right there's a conversation of, what are you going to see again? The big monster movie? Not sure if the Spectrum kid's going to be able to get through that. She did awesome. My kids did awesome. Like, other than several trips to the bathroom, everyone, was able to watch the movie and have a good time. I asked, so at the end of it, I always talk to the kids about, like, well, what did you like? What didn't you like? Try to engage them. Mm-hmm. And my son was like, my son just said, I liked it. I liked all the monsters fighting, and then he started. I think he likes the song better than the movie, though. It just like he was having a good time while he watched it, and he really didn't add much to the conversation. My daughter kind of had this like, ugh, what am I watching face until Mothra showed up, and even then she didn't really care until they referred to Mothra as Queen of the Monsters.
Darn right.
And suddenly.
Go ahead. I have something to bring up after this.
And suddenly she became very interested in the movie. And when I asked her what her favorite part was, she was like, my favorite part was Mothra, Queen of the Monsters, and then went into this whole rambling sidetrack about the difference between king and queens and how kings need queens to keep them in line. My daughter, the feminist, everyone.
I mean, A, your daughter's a sexist. B, okay, I think my favorite joke that came out of this that I saw online was one picture of Mothra, one picture of Captain Marvel. One of these actually did a decent, and again, the joke is, one of these did a great job of actually showing a strong female character and her ability to add to a narrative and to action sequences, and the other is Brie Larson.
Oh, God.
The kid, however, the kid I brought with me, who was very well behaved and everything, had really no problem with her, much to the surprise of her mother, didn't care for the film. Such is life. However, I'm of two minds about this thing. When the monsters were fighting on screen, I was enjoying it. That's what I was there for. I thought I didn't have as much problems with the CGI. And it might have been just the screen that I saw it on. We saw it on a regular digital screening, sitting all the way in the back. Normally, I sit right up front, usually with no rows in front of me. I usually sit dead center. Oh, and by the way, I also either go to an IMAX or a Dolby showing. I was advised not to take the 8, the 7, and the 5-year-old to a D-box. I don't know if you know what a D-box is, but it's basically you sit in a chair in the movie, and the chair shakes as you watch the movie.
I did not know that, but okay, good to know.
Yeah. So if your local theater has something in D-box, now you know it's kind of like supposed to be like a 4-dimensional experience. In any case,
the fourth dimension is time, and we're already experiencing it.
Terrific. So,
what did you expect me to say to that, Mark? I mean, in all seriousness, how many of these shows have we done? You can't set me up for a quasi-nerdy physics thing like that and then expect me not to take the bait.
I honestly didn't care one way or the other. I just do what you got to do, man. I sing, you say nerdy shit. This is the show, everyone. So anyway, when the monsters were... So yeah, I was sitting all the way in the back of like a regular showing, so it wasn't as crisp, and the definition wasn't as whatever it is you noticed about the CGI was not really apparent to me from where I was sitting. If I want to go back and see it again on a good screen, if I have time and opportunity, but the CGI wasn't noticeably bad one way or the other. I thought a lot of it looked really good. I think my favorite part of this movie was they didn't just give you a 3-headed dragon. They gave you a 3-headed dragon that was channeling the Three Stooges. That was the best. This thing arguing with itself and hitting, and one head hitting the other head, like, hey, what are you doing, stupid? I like King Ghidorah was my favorite character in the entire thing.
The fact that his different heads don't necessarily get along and each have their own individual personalities.
Yeah.
I do. I like that. It's not that he doesn't have a hive mind. Each one has an individual brain. Now, I do kind of think the middle head was the dominant because it's the one that was whacking the other.
No, he was clearly Mo, and then the one that was stage right was Larry, and the one that got bitten off and had to be regenerated was Curly. This is what I figured.
Poor Curly. For the record,
no. The original head was Chef, and what came back was Curly.
There you go.
Ooh, good reference. For the record, I have not seen a lot of King Ghidorah's films. Has he always been able to go full Hydra on us and regenerate his head, or was this added for that movie?
I think this was added for the sake of this movie.
I think they missed an opportunity. I think they missed an opportunity.
I don't have a problem with it, but
I think they missed an opportunity for King Ghidorah's theme music to be wah 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 wah. Anyway, I
have to admit, when I saw that head regenerating, I think I said a little louder. I was like, "Oh shit! Didn't know you could do that."
But yeah, here's the problem. This is one of the when dealing with monster movies like this, you either have to get the human part of it dead on, or your movie is pretty much going to suck outside of the monster fights. And this one was the latter, not the former. I thought, other than Ken Watanabe, who's fine and and honestly gives the best performance out of everybody in the bunch. What's crazy is what's the actress's name? Something Farmiga, Vera Farmiga. She was just
won an Oscar, I think.
She was just in When They See Us as I think the prosecuting attorney, and she's phenomenal. If you haven't,
she's a great actress.
I don't know what the hell she was doing in this.
I agree. I just watched The Conjuring the other night, which she's in, and she's great in that. And I remember, and I'm watching this movie going, like, okay, Vera, could you give another expression other than "please don't hurt me"?
Yeah, honestly, she has the acting range in this movie of fucking oatmeal.
Hey, oatmeal has many flavors. Okay, she doesn't in this movie.
Not in this movie. Charles.
Okay, fine. Emotional range of the rice cake.
Charles Dance was, Boris Badenoff. I mean, he was. I'm going to release all the monsters, and that was the other thing. The plot of this thing. Look, if you're going to decide that a character is going to turn on humanity and have it be a big reveal, remember this, what we're watching here is supposed to be an entertaining drama of sorts, and maybe have the character, I don't know, chew scenery, do something, pull on her mustache, yell. Jesus Christ, she delivers that whole thing. That's why it was so memorable to me, because it was delivered with all of she's essentially committing to wiping out. Like, okay, here's an example. When Thanos talks about wiping out half of the universe, he does it with a degree of passion. He's committed. James Brolin. Josh Brolin really, commits to the character, commits to the motivation, and you whether you obviously don't agree with most people, Robert does, but most normal people don't agree with what he's doing, but at least understand where he's coming from. She delivers this monologue about how we are the virus and the Titans are the fever, like she's reading off stops on a bus schedule, and it's like you're. Like however, the context around it, like the music playing in the background, the reactions of everybody is holy shit. This woman's lost her mind. She's going to release all these monsters. They're going to tear apart humanity. We're all going to die, and she's just like, "Yep, that's the plan, everyone." Sorry.
So I'm going to need you to come in and work overtime, work extra hours on Monday. That'll be great.
Like I said, I couldn't help but feel like she looked like she was in pain throughout the entire time she was on screen. When they get to that place,
the dialogue is so bad if she was in pain.
Well, I mean, like I said, she's constantly looks like she's saying, "Don't hurt me." During the scene where they're releasing Rodan, she looks like she is being forced at gunpoint to do this. I'm starting going, honey, if you really, I'm sitting there going, okay, so does she not actually believe that what she's doing is the right thing? Because she's coming across like her daughter is being held, with a knife to her throat or something. I could not figure out why she looked so upset. But then in the later scene when Maddie calls her out on her shit, saying like, you're the monster, I can't believe it. And she's like, no, I can fix it. I'm like, okay, I cannot figure out if you actually believe this or if you're just trying to put up the world's bravest face right now.
Yeah, she looked like she was being held hostage. So you have that problem where this woman who's clearly a talented actress doesn't give a believable performance. Kyle Chandler.
And I don't even. I would say I don't even want to blame that on the director, because the guy who directed this, Michael Dougherty, I think is how you pronounce it, has given me two of my all-time favorite films, Trick or Treat and Krampus.
Yeah, so I just think it was he probably thought that giving an understated performance because she's a scientist, and here's the problem, and this is. I think the performance is the result of the fact that she's going to sacrifice herself later, so you don't want the audience going, "Good, bitch," when she does make the sacrifice. Here's the problem: I did anyway. I don't care about this character.
I don't care about any of them.
No.
I was rooting for Ghidorah to eat 11.
I think the only time I actually cared about him, and frankly, this was the part that actually made me laugh the hardest, is when they're driving around Boston. One of the soldiers has been injured, and Kyle Chandler and Vera Farmiga are arguing with each other about losing Maddie, and one of the soldiers in the back just goes, "Man, if I was their kid, I'd run away too." And Vera Farmiga slams on the brakes and turns back. She goes, "What did you say?"
Yeah.
That just killed me. And of course, the soldier stands by. He's like, "No, I'm serious. I'd run away too. You two are messed up."
And then that bit of witty repartee was actually the impetus for, oh, hey, remember when we lived in this city?
So Kyle Chandler gives a halfway decent performance. Your mileage may vary on that one, but as
it was better than the first Kong movie that he was in.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And then everybody else is just kind of there. And so if this is their reaction to the focus group saying we need more humans and less monsters, I would love to know if that same focus group saw it again and was like, yeah, this is what we were looking for, because I don't believe this solved the problem. I mean, overall, it's fine. It was an entertaining monster mash. Here's the problem. Something of this size and scope meant to do... I mean, this is supposed to be the setup to their Avengers, and it was utterly forgettable. There's a handful of things that happen which are kind of fun and worth talking about in a, oh, that was cool sense. Him eating Ghidorah, that sort of stuff. When he finally gets his recharge done with the nuclear missile, and he launches his atomic breath into the sky, which is on all the posters and everything. That looks cool. But overall, this movie fails because it's not memorable. This should have left people like ready for Kong versus Godzilla. Like, I walked out of Endgame and I'm like, a year is too long. I need Infinity War. I walked out of Infinity War going, a year is too long. I need this now. I used to watch Monday Night Raw, and that as soon as Raw was over and like La Femme Nikita started, or whatever the hell used to come on after Raw, I was like, this is
stockings.
Yeah, this is the worst part of the week for me. It's the longest time between now and the next Monday Night Raw, and I got to know what happens next.
I'll give you that, because I think Kong Skull Island actually had that post-credit scene when they talk to Loki and Captain Marvel, and they show him saying, it's like, you think Kong's the only monster, and they show the images, and you hear Godzilla's roar. That actually got me excited. I remember watching going, oh, I can't wait to see what they do next. Right. But you're right. This one you walk out going, so when are we getting Godzilla versus Kong? Oh, probably about a year from now. Okay, that sounds nice.
I was like, I'm more excited to see Dark Phoenix at this point.
Oh,
no, you're not.
Which is gonna suck dick. I understand that, but I'm still Kong versus Godzilla. It'll get here when it gets here. But it's next week, and I can't wait. A terrible X-Men movie.
No. Look, I can accept the fact that you're a little bit meh about Kong versus Godzilla. You're just saying that you're excited about Dark Phoenix to say it. All right. No,
I can't wait for the new Spider-Man. Is that better?
Yes, that works.
I believe you, if for whatever that's worth.
I'll give you another example of this. I walked out of both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, I walked out of The Force Awakens going, wow, I can't wait to see what happens next. I walked out of The Last Jedi going, I can't wait for this to be over. 2 years is too long. Can we just tell me what happens now, and I can be done with Star Wars? But yeah, this did not have that impact, and that was the goal of this movie, was to not only give you a rip-roaring good time of monster mashes, but to also get you excited for this next one, and it just failed across the board.
I would really love to see the original cut of this, the pre-focus group.
Again?
Okay, just give me a countdown.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, one of the things I've been hearing a lot of people complain was that when we got these new Titans, not the main four, but the new ones who show up at the end to bend the knee, that we didn't get any of the other classic Toho creations. I've heard so many people complain that Anguirus didn't show up, or even King Caesar. I mean, personally, I don't think you could do King Caesar justice, because he's always going to have those big floppy ears and look like my Cocker Spaniel. But what did you guys think of these new Titans? You got what looks like it looks like a third Muto. Looked a lot like the ones from the 2014 movie. We got what I'm pretty sure was half woolly mammoth, half gorilla. One I think was like a giant spider. What did you guys think?
I was okay with it. I think Anguirus was the one that came up out of the ground. I think they said in Germany.
That was a Torterra. Didn't you watch Detective Pikachu?
No, I thought we established that during the entire review of that movie. I didn't see it.
Sir, Mark, tell me you didn't think of the Torterra scene when that happened.
If I say yes, will you not ask any follow-up questions?
So I was okay with that.
My answer to your question is I was fine with it, except they didn't do anything with them.
Yeah, I wanted to see, like, if you're going to give us more creatures, then okay, fair play. I'm okay with that. I would have loved to have seen, the crab monster from Godzilla versus the crab monster.
Crab people.
Or the sea monster, yeah. There's a legitimate Godzilla versus the sea monster movie, which is pretty great. My favorite Godzilla villain is actually Biollante, because they do so much fun stuff with his different forms.
Yeah, I guess I think I'll give you what you said. I think I would have liked to have seen more of what these new monsters can do.
Yeah,
I mean,
just do something with them other than have them on screens in the back, have them on monitors in the background of your flying command ship that's totally not a helicarrier.
Yeah, again, the one with that looked like the mammoth gorilla thing. I thought that was a really
coolly designed monster.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen it wrecking a city.
Yeah, give me a 5-minute sequence where people are trying to stop this thing, and let's show it off a little bit. Let's see its powers and abilities.
That's what I was saying before, and I don't know how much of this people actually heard because we had a recording malfunction. But
Mark likes to push the big red button.
Most of the movie really should have been Ghidorah sort of, looking from his perch on top of a volcano or whatever it was he was doing, while the other monsters are just wrecking shit everywhere. The military's trying to take them down. They're failing left and right. You kind of get that, that Avengers, there was another one, Independence Day kind of thing, where it's like, should we use a nuke? Well, if you do, there isn't going to be any left of humanity, and there isn't going to be any Earth left for humanity to habitate, so inhabit.
Except they detonated a nuke off the coast of San Francisco at the end of the first movie.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just the military trying and failing to take these out and then coming to the conclusion that there's only one thing left to do, and that's, go fish Godzilla out of the water. And then have him make his triumphant return. And, he like slaps a monster here, slaps a monster there, and then, then you have your final confrontation between him and Ghidorah. And I think you would have had a much more successful movie then. You would have made a lot more people happier, because I think word of mouth on this is, we got to get to this next. Word of mouth on this is that it's either okay or it's meh. It's underperforming, and this thing is like I think the monster universe is now like on a downward trend.
Which is a crying shame considering how good. I mean, I think we all enjoyed, again, Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. I think we all enjoyed Kong Skull Island. I mean,
I love Kong Skull Island. I thought it was great.
My jokes about
I enjoyed Kong Skull Island more than Gareth Edwards' Godzilla.
Yeah, I was in the minority of people who did not like the 2014 Godzilla.
Yeah, and Mark didn't like it at all.
No.
I liked it, but I'm not going to say it was a great movie. I walked out of it the same way I walked out of King of the Monsters. Walked out saying, that's a fun popcorn film. Not a bad way to waste an afternoon.
Well, that's the thing. Godzilla King of the Monsters was a fun popcorn film. Could have been better. We just went over all that. But, at the end of the day, I wanted to see monsters fight. I got to see monsters fight. The monsters look cool. I was happy. The problem with 2014 Godzilla is you barely see Godzilla, as I said before.
I don't want to rehash our argument there.
Yeah, sorry. I give it a pass because of that awesome scene where Godzilla breathes the atomic breath down the Muto's throat. That to me,
that's great. I mean, again, I'll reiterate this. I almost stood up and cheered watching that movie when you just see the light start to tick up on Godzilla's tail as his spine starts igniting, and it just comes up the body slowly. And everyone who's ever watched, again, some of the original Godzilla knows what's coming next. And then after he's kind of struggled a little bit with the Mutos, then all of a sudden, boom! I was so happy.
Yeah, I do kind of like that. And again, there's something in King of the Monsters, when the first fight with Ghidorah, when he's lying in the snow and you hear the pong, pong, pong sound, and you see his scale starting to light up. It's like, oh shit, he's charging!
And then Ghidorah just dodges it and shoots him back. It was so great.
I think I actually went, and yoink!
All right, Alexis, last word.
You can see the giant Nani pop up over Godzilla's head as soon as he dodged.
Last words. Last words on the craft of this movie, and then we got to move this along. CPAP's calling.
Oh, you're hearing Jigglypuff. I'm sorry, you keep saying the CPAP's calling. I'm not letting the joke go.
No, keep it going. We do that a lot here.
I enjoyed the style of the monsters. I enjoyed the monster fights. But yeah, I agree that the base story needed some work. I get the feeling that they established some really kick-ass monster fights, and then someone said, oh yeah, we actually have to put a human story behind this, and shoved in some last-minute elements. I hate to say, the human stuff does feel very spliced in. But again, it's, as I said, fun popcorn movie. I'm glad I saw it. You know, I enjoyed it. I will go see Godzilla vs. Kong when it comes out in, it's next year, right?
What's on the schedule?
2020.
Yeah, I'll still go see it. Not a bad way to waste an afternoon.
I'm just perpetually disappointed that there's things about these movies that get so close to getting everything right, and then because of I have to imagine there's like a corporate checklist that has to be checked, they wind up stumbling. And it's deeply, deeply annoying me the more this happens.
I'd like to go ahead and once again remind these Hollywood studios that the Rattledge and Broadcasting Film Consultation Service is open for business. We are ready to help you make a billion-dollar film.
Yeah, man, hey, send us a check. We'll help you out. Doesn't even have to be a lot. We're not going to charge you through the roof, but please let us help you because you clearly suck at this.
Or TV consolation. We did say we wanted to jump in when we were talking about the Zatanna book and how we wanted to, see that turned into a series.
I'm always pitching movie series. All right. With that said, folks, here comes the money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
All right. This thing had a budget of around $200 million. It's currently at...
Wait. Mark, I have to say this because I just came across... This headline was built for you. Baltimore mayor plans public fight club to curb gun violence.
Terrific. As I was saying, this, on a budget of about $200 million, this thing has currently earned $181 million. Not good, people. It underperformed for the weekend, even though it was the number one movie of the weekend. It beating out Aladdin and all that. But not what they wanted it to be. Not really what it could have been. So we'll get the last movie here, but it's I don't see this going past Kong versus Godzilla. I think it finishes up next year, and then they go back to the drawing board for a while, and Godzilla goes back in the box. Aladdin fell from 1 to 2. Rocket Man, the Elton John biopic, debuted at number 3. Ma. Debuted at number 4. Ma! Hey, Ma! John Wick fell
I
from...
can call Mama while I'm up here. Hey, Ma!
Get out on that roof!
Some folk will never eat a skunk. Then again, some folk will. There's Cletus, the slack-jawed
yokel.
I hate myself for that, but I couldn't resist.
Nothing beats the hobo life, stabbing folks with my hobo knife. John Wick fell from 2 to 5. Avengers. Folks, we're like 50 million away, or between 50 and 70 million away from taking down.
It's not. I'm gonna call it. It's not gonna do it.
No.
Not gonna happen.
We're so close.
Nope, not happening.
Avengers fell from 3 to 6. More on that in a minute. Detective Pikachu 4-7. Booksmart in its second week fell from 6 to 8. Brightburn, the evil Superman movie, fell also in its second week, fell from 5 to 9. The Hustle, do the hustle, fell from 8 to 10.
Pretty sure Mark is a Jigglypuff at this point with how often he uses Sing.
A Dog's Journey fell from 7 to 11. The Intruder 9 to 12. Dumbo 11 to 13. Shazam 20 to 14. Why did it go up? That's weird.
I might have got another. Again, there's a few countries that have stricter censorship rules that might have finally, and some of them are smaller countries that might have finally released it in, so it might have got a bump from that.
I was gonna say it opened in a bunch of new screens. It looks like so.
Again, there's some country that probably finally let it in. So.
And then we have Biggest Little Farm, Long Shots, Ugly Dolls, Palms, Captain Marvel, and finally The Curse of La 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 La. La Llorona.
That song is a pop culture footnote. I didn't say stop.
So anyway, that's the weekend. Where we are for this, we lose Alexis. Yeah, we did. No, wait. Alexis, are you in the mountains?
There's no mountains in Missouri, Mark.
No, I'm sorry. We lost her somewhere.
If she gets service back, she'll be coming back we'll get her back on. Otherwise...
She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain.
Also not about Missouri.
We lost you. Alexis? Alright, this is fun. Anyway, worldwide, Avengers still number 1, Captain Marvel still number 2, The Wandering Earth still number 3, How to Train Your Dragon still number 4, but Aladdin has finally claimed the top 5 spot from Alita Battle Angel, so yes, we finally have some movement in the top 10. After that, you got to take Detective Pikachu, Shazam, Dumbo, Us.
Guys, you there?
Yep, here we are. Hello, hi.
There we go.
Terrific. Godzilla's.
All right. Try to get on the speaker, but yeah, no. Sorry. Again, going through middle of nowhere, Missouri. I had no service for a few miles there, and we hit a thing of lightning bugs and had glowing bug guts on our windshield, which is actually really freaking cool.
It really is, and it freaks you out if you don't know what it is. But if you hit a lightning bug while it's illuminated, the guts will stay illuminated on your windshield for a while.
Yeah, I've never seen that before, and it was like, that is freaking awesome.
It happened to me when I was driving through West Virginia, and I had no idea what it was. At first, like, did I get sprayed? Did someone shoot like a neon paintball at me or something? It didn't make sense. And then, as I saw a few of the lightning bugs around, I went, "Oh, I hit it mid bioluminescence," and the reaction just stuck around. That's cool.
So Godzilla's currently sitting at the number 14 spot in the world between Escape Room and the Lego Movie Part 2.
This thing, if the word of mouth continues to be what it is for this movie, it's going to be lucky to break the top 10.
Well, here's the problem. For this kind of a movie, it's got some pretty stiff competition, even for a shitty movie. You've got Dark Phoenix coming out this weekend.
No, seriously, nobody see Dark Phoenix. Go see Endgame again. Go see Godzilla again. Don't see Dark
Or just go
Phoenix.
see Godzilla. Not enough of you saw it the first weekend, so, you know.
Well, yeah, look, if you want to make a push for Endgame, let's do it at the expense of Dark Phoenix, okay?
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what? There you go. We are so close to finally dethroning Avatar.
The other problem is you've got The Secret Life of Pets, too. So if you've got brave kids like mine, and you can take them to go see Godzilla, no one's going to do that. Everyone will go see The Secret Life of Pets, too. The following week, we've got Men in Black International. I don't know who's going to go see Shaft. Maybe I can't imagine that gets a huge audience, but
I mean, you were going to go see it.
It was originally on the schedule.
I was interested in Shaft until I saw who's directing it.
Yeah.
Who's directing it?
Yeah, it's the guy who gave us the 2 Fantastic Four movies. Nope.
Yeah.
So you got Men in Black International.
Even Mr. Roundtree is not going to get me to see that.
So I can't imagine, Godzilla does very well. This thing's going to fall off a cliff over the next couple of weeks.
I will say this about Godzilla. It's also a movie kind of built for international markets more so than the United States. If this gets saved, it's going to be overseas rather than domestic.
I mean...
what I was trying to say earlier during the money, I'm sorry for interrupting about that earlier, is that what makes me the most depressed is that, I can see this not going further than Kong versus Godzilla, but what really makes me depressed is that I'm sitting there going, that sounds about right. I wanted this to be a movie. I'm going, no, let's bring in more monsters. Let's see King Caesar. Let's see Anguirus. Let's see all of them. I am not, jumping up and down going for more monsters. I'll be fine when the series ends, and that is the saddest thing of all.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, it's got some... The problem is, it doesn't even have stiff competition. The competition is stiff because the movie's not as good as it could have been. But, I feel like we'll have diminishing returns. I think it gets to about $400 million, maybe, but that's after its total run. And I'm probably leaning on the hopeful side. I want it to be at least minimally profitable. But I think it's going to have quite a fight to get there. That being said, I think we can move on, yeah?
Yeah, I don't have anything else for the money.
All right. Alexis?
No, I'm good.
I'm
good.
Well, then here we go.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Sucharita Iago, Hassenpfeffer Incorporated, film companion. The movie overcompensates for not enough Godzilla. The fights are very cool, I have to admit, combined with the best special effects money can buy. But what makes it very difficult to sit through is just how loud it is.
Isn't that the point of a monster movie? Loud?
I wonder if loud in this case is not some kind of metaphor for something other than just the volume of things. Because if you're just complaining about the volume, I mean, I've complained about that for a few different movies. I'm not sure that's a complaint I'd levy at this movie, though, just in the sound design of different things. So, I don't know. Maybe you saw it in a crappy theater.
And, you know what? Sound mixing in this film was actually pretty good. I thought that, especially the scene with Ghidorah emerging from the ice, the layering of the ice cracking, the roars of the monster, the people scrambling to get free, it all sounded pretty clear to me.
Walter Chor, Film Freak Central. The worse it gets out here, the more desperate it gets in there. Godzilla, king of the monsters, suggests it's hell out here. It's not wrong.
Okay, how is that a sentence that makes sense? Who let you write that?
Yeah,
were you writing in a foreign language and this is what Google Translate spit out? I mean, what in the world?
Yeah, that made no sense. I was going to ask you to repeat that because I thought I missed half of it due to being in another no-service area.
Nope. Congratulations, Mr. Reviewer. Your reviews sound like they're constantly cut out, like very, very choppy voice connections on Skype. Good for you.
Ian Thomas Malone, this bag of shit.
Oh, God. I hate this guy.
Godzilla, King of the Monsters, clutters its narrative with too many loose strands of plot while failing to let its title character shine.
Okay, no, there's no... Let's be clear. There are no loose strands of plot. Like, there's no ambiguity here. There's no plot that's not really touched on. There might be some elements about the world and the world building that are not touched on, but that's not the same thing as the plot. And if you can't tell the two apart, you suck at your job.
Ed Whitfield of the Outre.
Oh, wow. The Outre.
It's just as lifeless as you feared. I would not call it lifeless.
No, I agree. Like, I wouldn't... The film has problems, to be sure, but there's stuff here. There is stuff in this movie that works. There's stuff in this movie that does kind of bring some life into the moviegoer and the movie-going experience. It's just too few and far between. That doesn't mean it's lifeless.
Oh, God. Michael Medved.
Oh, no.
No. Why? Oh, no. There goes Michael Medved. This is one of the most incoherent movies I have ever seen, and the most orally assaultive I can remember.
Okay. Did he spell that?
Orally
Hey, hang on.
assaultive?
I assume he spelled that Aurally?
That would be correct.
Okay, that's to the ears. He's referencing the sound design again.
I'm sorry. When did my movie theater just suddenly get way better speakers or something?
I don't know. Because I had no problem with any of it from a sound design perspective. Maybe they're just old and they forgot to bring their hearing aids, or they actually brought their hearing aids and realized,
Look,
there's noise in movie.
The kid on the autism spectrum handled it just fine. I don't know what's wrong with these people.
Look, they don't like the talkies, Mark.
The only time I ever had a bad experience due to audio in a movie theater was when I would see Van Helsing. But it's because I went to no, first of all, that movie sucks. But it's because you guys aren't familiar with this, but when I was in college, there's a movie theater called The Hangar. It is literally an old airplane hangar. And I don't know what the hell happened, but the reverberation on it was so terrible. I actually watched most of that movie plugging my ears. It was so bad. So unless you're watching it in the hangar, then no, you shouldn't be complaining about how bad this movie sounded.
Leonard Maltin.
Hang on. More importantly, before we get to Old Man Maltin, how is this movie incomprehensible? Like, of all the complaints you can levy at this movie, it's readily understandable. So much so that they have characters actually speaking extemporaneously and delivering exposition where it's not needed to make sure that dumbasses like you can follow what's going on.
I agree. The plot, it may be a poorly explained plot, but it's still explained. I mean, hell, you even got extra snarking commentary from Bradley Whitworth, which admittedly also put a smile on my face. He is a funny guy.
God. He almost needed more of a role because he's the only one who makes sense in so many of these scenes. Hey, you know what? Let the shields down to show him we're not a threat. Yeah, let the shields down so the giant monster can eat us. Great idea. No, let the shields down.
What was the line when they're getting hit with the radiation? I'd like to have kids someday, and I don't want them to have flippers.
He's basically Kith in this movie.
Leonard Maltin of LeonardMaltin.com. Go on, give it to me.
No. I don't say that about Leonard Maltin because Old Man Maltin just needs to go into the home already. I kid you not. I kid you not. One of my brothers got me a Dirty Harry collection for Christmas a few years ago. On the back is a quote about that movie from Leonard Maltin.
Wow.
I was never an aficionado of Japanese monster movies, but this overstuffed turkey makes me long for the original imports I saw as a kid. 2 hours wasted. That's how I feel. Ooh.
No one cares how you feel, old man.
Yeah.
Okay. Leonard Maltin. I actually like Leonard Maltin, but that's because I do a lot of extra, just for fun, work as an animation researcher, and Leonard Maltin has done a ton of animation research. He's done a ton of commentaries and explanations of various old cartoons that I've studied. So it's like, I don't want to insult Leonard Maltin. I really don't.
No, dude, please.
I'm simply going to say, Maltin, go back to talking about cartoons, please.
Look, he's no one's broken to him yet that Chuck Jones has died.
So, I don't know if you ever watched movie fights before, what's his face? Andy, whatever the hell his name was, got accused of touching girls. But they did a movie fights that he actually wasn't on. It was hosted by Alicia Malone, and it was classic movie fights. And it was like Leonard Maltin, his daughter, and somebody else. And if you don't want to take Ambien to fall asleep, you'd rather fall asleep naturally, this is a good way to do it. He has the distinction of being on the worst movie fights I've ever seen. It was awful.
Look, Leonard Maltin, I'm sure, has done good work in the past. He's just old man who needs to be in the home already. He's so old.
Paula Vasquez Prieto. This is actually a fresh review, but it's so stupid I had to read it. One of the notable things about this sequel is its impressive performances. Oh, name one. Name five.
You can't name one. Okay, man.
Impressive performances. Well, yeah, Rodan gives one hell of a performance, but who else is she talking about?
Look, Rodan's expert turn as the sniveling coward will likely earn him Oscar nominations. I understand.
All right, Ken Watanabe. That's why I said name five, because he's about the only one giving a performance.
You are basically. I'm gonna play the destroying angel, and you get to play Moses, Abraham trying to justify the existence of Sodom and Gomorrah. You say, I can find you 100 righteous people in this city. Please don't destroy it. All right, fine, do it. Okay, I can find 10. Okay, fine, do it. I can find 5. Okay, do it. I can find 1. Good luck.
Matthew Bond of the Mail on Sunday, UK. Honestly, I'd love to be able to say that in Godzilla King of Monsters I saw some sort of grand cinematic homage to the work. That's what I'd like to say, but unfortunately I can't.
I mean, he's not wrong. I would have preferred... I mean, that's my complaint with this movie is it's supposed to be spectacle. And it fails to actually be spectacle for 80% of the movie.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it, mind you, but it could have and should have been better.
Tom Schoen of the Sunday Times UK. You'd probably get the most out of this film with your eyes shut.
No, actually, the visuals are probably... If you shut your eyes, all you're left with is the dialogue.
Wait a minute. So if we have at least 2 reviews where they're complaining about the audio, and now this one guy's saying keep your eyes shut and just enjoy the audio?
I think he's making an argument for not watching the movie at all.
Well, then just say that. You're not clever enough to pull that off, buddy.
Kiko Vega of Espinoff. A terrible step backwards for the MonsterVerse.
Terrible's a bit much, but a step backwards for the MonsterVerse, yeah, it is. I mean, again, Godzilla had me hyped. Kong had me kind of hyped to see what was going on next. This one just kind of falls down, and yeah, it is a step backward. I wouldn't say a terrible step backward, but definitely a setback.
I say it's kind of hard to do a step backward when your series is only 4 movies.
Yeah, that's why that's kind of my argument with this. Like, step backwards to what, 2014? Andrea Chase, Killer Movie Reviews. This is a film where the restraining field is activated after a monster is revived, and the emotional arc of any given human is less fully realized than the irritation these monsters obviously feel about having to interact with any of the scurrying humans.
Okay. If you actually care about the emotional arc of the humans, you're in the wrong movie. You have completely missed the point of what these movies are. There shouldn't be an emotional arc for the humans necessarily. They shouldn't take up that much screen time.
No, I agree. I mean, if you're sitting there saying you want the parents to find their daughter when she gets lost in Boston, yeah, I'll cut you that one. But again, it's like we don't like.
There should not be a great pregnant pause when the jilted ex-wife throws back at the husband. There's things you can't run away from. Congratulations, Hallmark.
Demian Straker of Impulse Gamer. This is not a film, but a loud, dumb tech demo that only exists to house images haphazardly sketched on a computer. Oh, sir, have you forgotten The Phantom Menace?
Seriously,
he wasn't born when it came out.
Yeah, haphazardly sketched.
No, there is some of the most. Let me just say, one of the things that I was very interested in about this movie was the beautiful work they did in the previews of teasing some of these monsters. There's stills from this movie that are roughly akin to some of those beautiful like Renaissance frescoes depicting mass epic scenery. There's genuinely beautiful stuff. None of this is haphazard. Even when I think it falls down in places, I wouldn't call it that.
Agreed. The way they got the texture of each of the monsters and the style of each of their battles. I mean, yeah, I talked about the design of Ghidorah, how you could actually see the lines on his face and made him look like a Chinese driver. You talk about Rodan, and you could see his scales emerge after emerging from the lava. That's gorgeous. You could see the pattern, all the different patterns and styles of Mothra's wings. Those are beautiful.
Yeah, they actually made a moth somewhat threatening, and moths are so harmless they don't even have stomachs.
Well, to do that, they had to give her longer legs.
And a stinger.
Bill.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about the stinger. Again, it's like, I didn't know Mothra had one of those.
She doesn't normally, but she speared Rodan like the turkey he is, and it was great.
That was awesome.
Bill Arsenault of the Big Easy magazine. Sanctimonious in bad places and incoherent in even worse ones. And another guy who couldn't follow the movie. It does have heart and a definite sense of wanting. That should go a long way. It should.
Wow, way to repeat your previous point. Oh God, you're so lazy with your writing. That's such a lazy sentence. I agree about it being needlessly sanctimonious in places and falling down in the points are valid, but that's some bad writing, man.
Matt Brunson of Creative Loafing, this fuckface.
Oh, God. I hate this man.
Godzilla King of the Monsters is comparable to 2014's Godzilla and far superior to the 1998's Godzilla vs. Ferris Bueller. Eat a bag of dicks, you.
Okay, hold on. It is better than Godzilla vs. Ferris Bueller because my home movies are better than Godzilla vs. Ferris Bueller.
Dark Phoenix is going to be better than Godzilla vs. Ferris Bueller.
Whoa. No. Hang on. I mean,
I'm not even done reading the guy's review. God, keep your pants.
He's already made too many bad points.
When it focuses on the marquee attractions, it roars to life. All other times, it's merely Godzilla with...
Did he just do God and then a bunch of Z's?
It's Godzilla with and then there's 4 Z's in a row.
Okay. Yeah, again, that's relatively weak writing. The point about, again, the movie coming to life when it's actually about the monsters, because it's a freaking monster movie. This is roughly akin to all the people going, you know what the Transformers movies really needed? More Shia LaBeouf.
All right, Marianne Johansson of Flick Philosopher.
Oh, no, Mark, no. Just no.
An absolute mess, and nowhere near enough monster action. Does not give good disaster. No fun at all. Makes me long for guys in rubber monster suits awkwardly sparring. At least you could see them.
Okay. There's a kernel of a point in there that's accurate.
Didn't we actually bring this up during the Godzilla 98 riff that we would like to see at least one monster battle take place during the day when there's not rain, lightning, snow, volcano, something?
That was my kid's point. He's like, why is it always raining in these things?
That would be nice. And then the one that they gave us, no one actually saw.
Let's see. Any more of our favorite ones here? These are a few of our favorite reviewers.
Seriously, I have not been doing this show long enough. You guys keep moaning at certain critics, and I'm not retaining the names.
There are a certain. You will if you stick around long enough. Yeah. Marianne Johansson's one. Roger Moore, Leonard Maltin,
Joe Morgenstern.
Joe Morgenstern, the other old man.
Matt Brunson.
Brunson's one. Medved is one. There's a few that just seem to crop up consistently. Yeah. So when Mark says the name, even Mark, when he's scrolling, like, oh, hey, here's one from, oh, God, no.
Well, here's one on the list of the bag of dicks. Eric D. Snyder of ericdsnyder.com.
You self-employed bastard.
You got to see this guy's picture, Alexis. Go on Rotten Tomatoes and look for Eric D. Snyder.
It's not worth looking.
He has punchable face.
It's not.
I'll make a note of that later when I have a stronger signal.
The monsters are just as uninteresting as the people. Their one appeal, how huge, awesome, and scary they look. Obscured by so much CGI debris and too many tight close-ups. I know the word is debris. Don't correct me.
I was going to say, it's like, what did you just say, Mark?
It's an old Primus joke. Miscellaneous debris.
No one cares about Primus. There's a bit of truth to, again, some of the visual stylings that go on, because, again, there's a lot that I wish more movies would have the faith in their creature design that, much as I didn't care for Pacific Rim Uprising, generally speaking, that final battle just takes place under the clear blue sky on the slopes of Mount Fuji. There's no hiding there's no hiding it. They actually had enough faith in what they had done and what they had done technically and design-wise to just let it take place at high noon kind of thing. And I approved of that. Sadly, too many of them are still kind of hiding behind darkened backgrounds, especially this movie, because this movie very clearly has the strength of art design and CGI put into it to make those work. Like, that can be a thing for this movie, and for whatever reason, reshoots, they couldn't quite really commit to the entire setup.
Robert Winfrey's spiritual father, Roger Moore, Movie Nation.
No, God. Patricide, spiritual patricide. Find me, old man. I will put you out of everyone's misery.
This guy is the king of short reviews, or one-word reviews, but here he went whole hog and gave us 3 words. Poor Ken Watanabe.
Is he saying that because of the tragedy of the character, or the fact that the actor deserved better?
He's implying the actor deserves better. I mean, good for you, old man, putting 3 whole words together. Maybe in another decade you can form a coherent sentence. I've got a book for you that might help you along with this called See Dick Run.
In all fairness, Ken Watanabe does deserve better than anything else, because Ken Watanabe is amazing. So, no matter what movie he's in, it's like he deserves better. Yeah, he does deserve better. He's awesome.
Yeah, that's been a universal truth of his entire film career, is the man's always been great, and sadly, frequently has never really gotten the credit he deserves.
Kristen Lopez of Culturists.
Oh, no.
The latest installment in the long-running Godzilla franchise is more of the same, with an insipid blend of characters and monsters you can't appreciate.
Okay, I almost need more context for can't appreciate, because in all seriousness, if it's a comment on some of the visual choices or the fact that they just don't spend enough time with the awesome monsters, I agree. If it's just, no, there's too many monsters, I wanted more crappy human drama, then no, your point is utterly invalid and you're kind of stupid.
Yeah, I don't get what they mean. Are they saying can't appreciate it? If they're talking about the extra titans at the end that we were discussing, the new ones, sure, there's understandable, but the main 4, I think you appreciate Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and Ghidorah very, very much.
I did. I mean, I also did not, forget my ADHD medication before I went in. I also don't need ADHD medication, but I assume you do.
Piers Marchant of Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Wow. Just wow. That's your publication, huh?
God.
Moving at a constant breakneck speed, Michael Dowry's film lacks even basic lucidity or continuity.
No, it doesn't.
What was so hard to follow about this?
Okay, look, this guy's an Arkansas Democrat. Do I have to point out that this guy voted for a violent rapist multiple times?
Fair enough. Bill Clinton was a rapist.
Yes. This is not really in dispute at this point.
This is another ongoing thing on this show, Alexis. This is that every once in a while we have to tell people in very plain English Bill Clinton was a rapist.
Good to know.
In case you're wondering, what like are they doing a bit? Yes, almost every show.
See, I was trying to think. You see, I was trying to think about the whole lack of continuity in the film, to which I'm trying to think, wait, is he talking about the plot or the connection to the previous 2 movies? And then you have to go with Bill Clinton as a rapist, and my thought train just got massively derailed and tossed about a mile away from the tracks.
You're welcome.
And look, Bill Clinton sucked. He was a terrible person. He was a terrible president. But this guy's point about you claiming that this movie lacks lucidity, I mean, I get that you might just throw that big word in there to impress the editors at the Arkansas Democrat publication. But to anyone with a fully functioning brain cell, or, that doesn't have 6 toes because their cousins are married, your sentence barely works, man.
Dana Barbuto of the Patriot Ledger. Yankees fans will have something to cheer about. Get it?
Okay, you know what? That's actually funny.
J.R. Kennard of Pop Matters. We're almost done here. Calling the plot of Godzilla King of the Monsters stale would be an insult to the fossilized potato chips hiding between your sofa cushions.
No, the fossilized potato chips between my couch cushions, once tried to stage, had been there so long they developed quasi-sentience and I had to put them down violently, so...
Gross. Clean your house, you pig.
I have
No.
dogs. I don't have potato chips between the couch cushions. If any food
I have. That's one of the reasons I started having dogs, like, kind of in the house. Was just like, okay, you know what? I don't have to worry about spilled food nearly as much anymore. I have a beagle, and that just makes her day when something drops to the ground.
All right, last one. Christian Toto from Hollywood and Toto.
No.
Yep, this bag of shit. You can add him.
Why?
Add him to the list, Alexis.
Add it to the list.
adding.
This disaster epitomizes everything that's wrong with the modern Hollywood blockbuster.
Wow, really?
Elaborate, please.
I almost... Okay, credit to whoever chose that little snippet as your, please click and read the whole thing, because I almost need to see that point justified relative to so many other stupid blockbusters that I've seen that have so many worse problems than this movie.
Another one saying that this is unintelligible. Jesus Christ.
How stupid are you people?
Okay, I'm actually going to end with this one. This is a fresh review. Okay? Evan Dossie of the Midwest Film Journal. A return to form for the Godzilla franchise.
Alexis, this guy ostensibly writes for the Midwest, so I'm going to assume he lives there somewhere. If you could find him and just beat him about the head with a freshly caught, like a salmon you bought from a deli counter, just buy the whole fish and just smack the crap out of him with it.
What's his name again?
Ugh, I gotta go back to the other page. Next table, Evan Dossie.
That name actually sounds really freaking familiar.
Oh, please tell me you can actually do this and commit assault with a dead salmon that you bought at a meat counter. I have occasionally called for people to be beat about the head with dead fish because they're so bad at their job. I really want it to happen.
See, I've just got the fish slapping dance from Monty Python stuck in my head.
That'll work.
All right, folks, that takes us to the end of this review, if that's what you want to call it. Tomorrow on the Metal Hammer of Doom, we're going to review the only album I allowed Jesse to pick for the year. It's Allegiant Apoptosis. Hope you enjoy it. On Thursday, myself and Sean, in theory, will be doing an on-trial for the 1998 Godzilla. No boxing this weekend.
That movie is indefensible apart from Hank Azaria and his Brooklyn accent.
So no boxing this weekend, no wrestling, no alternative coverages, nothing like that. Next week, it's Dark Phoenix stuff all week long. We've got the Dark Phoenix saga on Source Material. We've got the Dark Phoenix movie on Damn You Hollywood. Robert is going to make his one appearance on the Metal Hammer of Doom Wednesday as we review the second Oakley Dokley album, Howdly Doodly. And then
Ned Flanders Metal. Yes.
And then on Thursday, otherwise known as Thursday, get it? H-E-R-S, Thursday. We'll do an on-trial for X-Men 3, The Last Stand. Nothing on Friday, nothing on Saturday, because I can't get Pat to do any more boxing.
Look, man, after the last one, I understand his reticence.
Yeah, I'm going to try to convince him, though.
Let him cool off for a few months, and then you'll probably be able to talk him back.
And then we've got Andrew Graham will be making an appearance on the Source Material podcast as we discuss Gotham Central Book 1. We'll be back here on Damn You Hollywood to do Men in Black International. Alexis, I assume you're going to join us for Dark Phoenix. Are you coming back for Men in Black International?
Probably. My best friend wants to go see it, and I could definitely use some Chris Hemsworth abs in my life.
He's never going to take his shirt off in this movie.
I can dream.
Hey, look, Chris Hemsworth is a deeply attractive man, and I'm, as straight as they come, and I can acknowledge that as an attractive man. I'm just going to go ahead and guess he never takes his shirt off, or he does at the very end. And
see, I assumed you were asexual and were able to spawn via cleavage. You just kind of, like a piece of you just kind of falls off, and it becomes like another Robert.
Yeah, I'm not a troll, Mark.
Oh.
That's literally how trolls generally regenerate. Is you cut off an arm, the troll grows a new arm, the arm grows a new troll.
Yeah, I thought we'd been over this. That's not how Robert reproduces. That's how Patrick reproduces.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, look, I reproduce via concentrated hate and misery. Just when I feel enough of both of them, a clone of me spawns, and then I have to violently murder it because I hate myself.
The way you act during this show, there should be an RB of Robert Whitby's ready to take over the world.
Again, I have to look. Every time I meet myself, I have to kill him. I hate myself that much. Like I can't do it. You know that scene in The Prestige when Hugh Jackman first clones himself via that machine, makes a copy of himself via the magic of David Bowie's Tesla performance as Nikola Tesla, and then he spontaneously shoots himself because the concept of two of him is so terrible. I have no look of horror on my face when I do it, and the other me isn't going, no, wait, he's reaching for the gun too.
If the reverse Flash over here could hush for just a second. The new Rammstein album is out. The self-titled album, we're going to review that on June 19th.
Okay, no, hold on. Will you be... I understand you were joking about my ability to reproduce via, troll regeneration magic from most fantasy movies. How serious were you about the comment about me being asexual?
Really?
I'm just kind of curious.
It was a joke.
Okay. Okay, the whole thing was a bit. I didn't know if you were tacking a joke onto the end of an actual point or not. I was just curious. I'm not offended if you were.
Honestly, I know so little about... This is a true statement. I know so little about your personal life. I'm not sure if I'm talking to an AI whenever I call you. So I just, so it was a joke. Trust me. Speaking of...
Day 695. Mark is on to us and must be dealt with. We are Skynet.
Speaking of artificial intelligence...
Was it saying I rooted for Thanos? Was that what kind of tipped you off?
No, it was your Jeff-like ability to not let me finish a fucking sentence.
You wound me deeply, sir.
The Screaming Boy podcast will be making its return to the Rattlegion Broadcasting Network just long enough for us to bitch about the rest of you. We're calling it Toxic Fandoms. You know who you are, assholes. Put down your stupid list thing. Robert Downey Jr.
Put down your online petitions.
Thank you.
There you go.
I couldn't get the word petition out.
You and I have done too many of these shows. I genuinely... I was listening to you struggle for words on your TV party for the NXT TakeOver, and as soon as you started struggling, I knew what you were trying to say, and everyone else stumbled around with you for about 40 seconds, and I resisted the urge to say it out loud, but I just went in my head, no, I know what he means. I can read your mind at this point.
Yeah, Chris Sheehan bailed me out. He was like, you're trying to say misogyny, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, damn it. All right.
As soon as you went, that thing with this, I went, yeah, misogyny / chauviny, or being overly chauvinistic. I got you. And no, I couldn't save you. I was not there to save you from your aphasia.
By the way, there I am walking on eggshells trying to be woke and polite about the dear Miss Shayna Baszler and fucking Chris Bailey. Oh my goodness.
I laughed so hard.
I wouldn't kick her out of the bed for eating crack, and she's like, no, fuck her, she's a troll. Like, oh my goodness.
Shayna Baszler, really good professional wrestler, mediocre fighter, not an attractive woman.
No, not an attractive woman at all.
Again,
Anyway.
great professional wrestler. I can't stress that enough. She is a great wrestler.
To anyone who didn't hear that, I was cheering her on and saying that she deserves better than she gets, and and she deserves great things to happen to her. She's just not. She just shouldn't pose for Playboy. That's all I'm saying. All right, on source material, we've got the Heroes in Crisis because Death to Tom King. We'll all be back here again for the Search for More Money, Toy Story 4.
Apparently, the pre-sales for that are going through the roof. Whatever. Look, their
Fucking
cash
Toy Story,
grab is
man.
working.
It's fucking Toy Story. The new.
All hail the mouse.
We'll be reviewing the new Amon Amarth Berserker. Gonna resist the urge to do the Clerks bit. And then finally, Chris Bailey. We will be reviewing, not Chris Bailey, Jesse Starcher and I will be reviewing the new Black Mirror Season 5. And then finally, the week of July 4th, we've got a pair of Jessica Jones. We've got Jessica Jones Volume 2, The Secrets of Maria Hill. And then Robert and I, will review the last of the red hot Netflix Marvel series, Jessica Jones Season 3.
Look, you could not pick a worse of those series to go out on, especially after Season 2.
It'll be fine.
No, Mark. No, they let Kristen Ritter direct a bunch of these. No, it won't.
It'll be perfect. And then
Guys, I'm 10 minutes away from the hotel. Can we speed this along?
And then on July 3rd, we'll be reviewing Upon a Burning Body. And then that's it for that week. And then I think I'm in the hospital. So, woo! I'm turning the keys over to the rest of you freaks. Try not to crash it into the ditch.
I make no promises about who will or will not still be alive by the end of it.
All right, you.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Speaking of almost at the hotel, go ahead and plug your company there, Alexis.
Honeysuckle Rose Creations, the intersection of geek and chic. We just wrapped up our big spring sale, but we've got a ton of new items that have been added to the store. We have a couple of our new wire-wrapped rainbow dice just in time for National Pride Month. We have our brand new Mario items charm bracelet, and not this weekend, but next weekend, I will be making an appearance at the Greater Austin Comic-Con. It's a big 2-day event, and God help me, I'm bringing my sister along with me for a road trip. Again, make no promises about who will be alive at the end of that. Honeysuckle Rose Creations, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we have online stores on Etsy and Handmade at Amazon.
I have a stupid question, which will require an even dumber answer.
Yes.
Can you get a table at Comic-Con in San Diego?
Okay, I didn't want to get on a soapbox here, but I have actually vowed not to get a table at San Diego until they pull their heads out of their asses and stop with the stupid lawsuits. But for the record, every time I've applied, I've been waitlisted. The line to get into that thing as a vendor is astronomically long.
It's apparently there's massive logistical issues that they've started running into over the last 3 or 4 years. My friend Jeff, who I do another show with, and he goes to a lot of those conventions, and the last 3 Comic-Cons he's mentioned just how badly organized the one in San Diego has been.
Yeah, but no, I'm serious as a heart attack. I refuse to work that one until they stop with the lawsuits claiming that they own the rights to the word Comic-Con. Because frankly, that is some grade A bullshit.
What about the one in Tampa in August?
A, let me see if there's still tables available. B, can I have a couch?
Yes. I mean, I have 2 children, but the couch is always available.
Okay, let me see if they've still got tables available and talk to my assistant, see if we can finagle something.
Okay, well, we got... Hey, that'll actually be... I should be out of the hospital by then, and God knows I'll probably need company. So... depending... I gotta find out when... I'll let you know when the dates are for Tampa Comic-Con is. I just know it's in August.
All right, just send me a link to the site. I'll take a look when I get back to town.
All right, do your MMA thing, sir.
All right. This last Sunday, Jeff and I got together and we reviewed UFC on ESPN Plus 11, the last fight of Alexander Gustafsson, as he was submitted by Anthony Smith in the 4th round. Also, light heavyweight finally gets another half-decent prospect. I mean, this guy's been on my radar for a while, but other people might pay attention as Alexander Rakic head-kicked Jimmy Manoa into retirement. Jimmy Manoa also retired over the last week, as did Nick Hine, who lost on this card. A lot of guys bowing out.
Jimmy Manoa got kicked so hard in the head he lost math.
Yeah, that was oof. That sounded like a gunshot. That was a hard kick.
Dude, he cartoon straightened up.
Yeah, I mean, he's also 39. Like the fact that Jimmy Manoa was as successful as he was at the age he was is a credit to him and an indictment on the division. At the same time, not backhanded. Those two things can be true at the same time. So you can listen to us talk about that. We had some recording issues, so I got to play around with sound editing software. Hopefully nothing... everything seemed okay when I uploaded it. We also preview UFC 238, which... Oh, yes. I am so hyped for that card. Now I just get to pray that it holds together because there's so much good on that card. The main event is solid. Marlon Moraes will fight Henry Cejudo for the vacant bantamweight title. Valentina Shevchenko is going to kill this poor girl, who's basically at this point turned herself into the female version of Tito Ortiz with her quotes and promos. It's so bad. Also, Donald Cerrone and Tony Ferguson are going to try to kill each other. I'm so happy with that fight. Peter Yan will fight Jimmy Rivera, and I've been a believer in Peter Yan for a while now, so this is a good step up in competition for him. And it's a heck of a fight, so it's a really good card. The prelims are even pretty decent. I'm just praying everything holds together. You can listen to our full preview of that, as well as follow my live coverage of that event this Saturday in the MMA Zone of 411mania.com. So if you're so inclined, stop by. I appreciate it.
All right, folks, this has been yet another edition of Damn You Hollywood. Be well.
Hit the like button, subscribe, give us a rating, give us a review. We just need some form of interaction to help confirm the analytics, people. Make the algorithm work for us, not against us.
I don't even care about all that anymore. Just sign up for Podcoin.
Mark, are they seriously? If they haven't started paying you, I'm going to ask you to stop that.
Sign up for Podcoin. Find us on there. We're there. I listen to myself on Podcoin now. You should listen to us on Podcoin too. If you're going to listen to podcasts, why not make it worth your time and money and time and energy? Get paid for it.
You're seriously like reading their ad copy. Are they not actually paying us for this?
I cannot tell a lie.